Good evening, good morning, and good afternoon. Tonight I'll be reading from Mark chapter 12, verses 13 through 34. If you enjoy my content and learning about Jesus, please hit that like and subscribe button. Thank you. Later, they sent some of the Pharisees and Herodians to Jesus to catch him in his words. They came to him and said, "Teacher, we know that you are a man of integrity. You aren't swayed by others because you pay no attention to who they are. But you teach the way of God in accordance with the truth. Is it right to pay the imperial tax to Caesar or not? Should we pay or shouldn't we?" But Jesus knew their hypocrisy. "Why are you trying to trap me?" he asked. "Bring me a denarius and let me look at it." They brought the coin, and he asked them, "Whose image is this and whose inscription?" "Caesar's," they replied. Then Jesus said to them, "Give back to Caesar what is Caesar's, and to God what is God's." And they were amazed at him. Then the Sadducees, who say there is no resurrection, came to him with a question. "Teacher," they said, "Moses wrote for us that if a man's brother dies and leaves a wife but no children, the man must marry the widow and raise up offspring for his brother. Now there were 7 brothers. The first one married and died without leaving any children. The second one married the widow, but he also died, leaving no child. It was the same with the third. In fact, none of the 7 left any children. Last of all, the woman died too. At the resurrection, whose wife will she be, since the 7 were married to her?" Jesus replied, "Are you not in error because you do not know the Scriptures or the power of God? When the dead rise, they will neither marry nor be given in marriage. They will be like the angels in heaven. Now about the dead rising. Have you not read in the book of Moses, in the account of the burning bush, how God said to him, 'I am the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob'? He is not the God of the dead, but of the living. You are badly mistaken." One of the teachers of the law came and heard them debating. Noticing that Jesus had given them a good answer, he asked him, "Of all the commandments, which is the most important?" "The most important one," answered Jesus, "is this: 'Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your mind, and with all your strength. The second is this: love your neighbor as yourself. There is no commandment greater than these." "Well said, teacher," the man replied. "You are right in saying that God is one, and there is no other but him. To love him with all your heart, with all your understanding, and with all your strength, and to love your neighbor as yourself is more important than all burnt offerings and sacrifices." When Jesus saw that he had answered wisely, he said to him, "You are not far from the kingdom of God." And from then on, no one dared ask him any more questions. So, did Jesus support paying taxes? This is from verses 16 through 17. The Pharisees resented the idea of paying taxes to Rome. Supporters of Rome, appointed Herod, defended it. These opposing groups joined forces to try to make Jesus say something politically offensive, but neither side could refute his answer. Acknowledging God's rule, but recognize human government as well. If legitimate, taxes are owed. Pay them. Did a Jewish man at this time still marry his brother's widow? From verse 19. Some Jews probably still practice this law. Polygamy had not been practiced for nearly 5 centuries. Since the end of the Babylonian exile, the Sadducees, who did not believe in the resurrection of the dead, were not interested in polygamy. They were simply mocking the idea of resurrection. Is there marriage in heaven? From verse 25. It seems unlikely, but that was not Jesus' point. The Sadducees, who did not believe in the resurrection of the dead, were attempting to show that the concept of the resurrection is absurd. Jesus' point had to do with the reality of the resurrection, not the lifestyle of heaven. Paul said that heaven's pleasures will be infinitely better than the best that this life offers. How does God's name prove the resurrection? From verse 26. Jesus could have quoted more obvious Old Testament texts to prove the resurrection, but because the Sadducees based their doctrine on only 5 of the books of Moses, Jesus made his case by quoting from one of those books. Exodus chapter 3, verse 6. To speak of Yahweh, the God of Abraham, was to imply not only that God had a past relationship with Abraham, but also that God has a continuing relationship with him in the present. Jesus was saying, in effect, if you believe there is a God, then since he is Abraham's God, you should believe Abraham still exists. How can God be 3, the Trinity, and 1 at the same time? From verse 29. The Bible teaches that there is only one God who exists in 3 persons, Father, Son, and Spirit. And then from verse 34, was this teacher of the law close to becoming saved? Apparently he was, since there is no hint from the context that Jesus was being sarcastic or using irony here. Mark explicitly says that the man answered wisely, and that Jesus said the man was not far from the kingdom of God. The teacher of the law recognized that loving God and loving others was the key to genuine faith, and that those 2 things were more important than external regulations or rituals. However, we don't know whether he actually demonstrated faith in Jesus. God bless you guys.